Hello, Bianca.
Everything's working. That's the name.
My drop was so bad. It was just like a boring straight down drop. I'm like a little devastated by the drop.
Wow.
Sorry.
It was
Stuff
very far.
matters.
It was very far away. So I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. How's it going, Alex?
Good. It feels strange to stream on what feels like a Monday because of the holiday weekend here.
Oh yeah. So maybe that's why all the things are like, ooh, like it doesn't, all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was supposed to mean. Ooh. I don't know.
Your general like this isn't quite working, right? Yeah. It's been
I don't know.
We had some technical difficulties this morning, so thanks for bearing with us. But we're here now. And did you have a nice Memorial Day weekend? A nice little holiday weekend?
Did I? I think so. Yeah. Like sometimes I like sometimes I forget, like I do, like I'm trying to remember, like what did I, you know what it was? It was so rainy out here. I was in the mean streets of Atlanta and it was just so rainy. So all I just recall is a very rainy time. But I did, my uncle was in town, so that was like
Nice.
a nice surprise. So that was kind of cool. I will say it's always so trippy when you see someone in a different context. Like I kind of felt like that when I saw you IRL. And I was like, you're supposed to be on a screen, but then seeing you IRL, and I was like, whoa, this is so trippy. So I felt like I would look at my uncle and I was like, wow, like you're typically in New York, but now you're here. And like we're in the same city.
Yeah. You get really deep with it too, where it's like not only that, but I feel like relationships with like uncles and aunts change as you get older, because it's like it's a little more of like you're never going to be like peers because they're always going to be quite a bit older than you, but it's like it's just a different vibe when you're like both adults.
Yeah, so that was like that too. Yeah, that was also like super different because like I mean I will say I still had to pay for dinner,
of course,
but the uncle logic hierarchy. So but it was still cool to be like, oh my gosh, like, but I was driving him, like around town, so like it was just so weird to be in this like different context. What did you do?
I live in Denver. We went up to Boulder to see some friends. So I spent the morning with my like oldest friend in the world, guy who he's 2 weeks older than me. And there's like a bunch of pictures of our moms next to us pregnant. And he has kids that his younger son's just like 3 months older than my daughter. So like we hung out with them in the morning, and then we went to a friend's barbecue, and Isla was the only baby. She's, 17 months old. She was the only baby at the barbecue, and she was just like running around to like every other adult and just like trying to give them high fives. It was so cute. So, we had a nice day.
That is beautiful. I misheard you initially. I was like, you were the only baby, Alex. I was like,
I was the only baby. Yeah. Sometimes I just decide that I'm going to be the one who's the baby at the party. It's just a role I play sometimes.
I was just like, wow, is improv like, was that an improv, part or improv to do? It's like, be a baby for a day. But yes, no, that is awesome. Those are all, you always, I feel like that's just like good skills to have, like babies that are able to like be around, adults. Like it's a good balance. So they're not like, whoa, adults, people talking.
Yeah. It was very cute. But so what are we getting into today?
Okay, so we have a special guest, not special, just one
just
special.
Singles, but we were informed that it's one special, that he only wanted one special.
But
we think he's double special, so we can have a disagreement about that.
But we want to honor the needs of our guests, so we'll just give him one special. But we have Anthony Dellavecchia, who will be joining us. Anthony is on the DevNet, but he'll tell you a little bit more. But we're super excited to have him on stream. But it's always fun to kind of pull in our fellow DevNetters. So that is who we will have joining us today. So we'll kick off, by welcoming Anthony.
Yeah. Hi, Anthony.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going, everyone? Yeah, thanks for that intro. Yeah.
You're very, very special to us, Anthony. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You don't seem in alignment. But no, I think it's like, I think the cool thing about our team is that like we're all, we've all built rapport. And I think sometimes like we see what other folks are doing, like we see what each other's doing. But I do think it's important to like highlight the dopeness, that we see in you, Anthony.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
I also like, I just want to like, we'll start on the very surface level, but that's a nice Twilio shirt. I like the like solid red with the little logo. It's a nice,
Yeah, thank you.
nice little piece. Yeah.
This is typically what I wear whenever I go on, on stream or whatnot. Like
It's subtle, but
yeah.
like but it's got the right amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love it.
I like it.
But it's bright red. Because
Yeah.
then it's like Twilio red.
I feel like it goes pretty well with the whole stream too, like with the blue backgrounds and
Ooh.
everything.
Yeah,
right?
versus me who just blends in because I think I'm wearing the old school SendGrid blue right now
No, it looks good
for
too.
some reason. Yeah.
What does yours say?
It's one of the We Pledge shirts. I'm sorry, I can't see what's happening here. It's one of the We Pledge shirts, but it does there. I do have a Twilio logo on the arm, so it's
Okay.
real.
Nice.
Twilio.org. Yeah, cool stuff. Twilio.org does. Check them out.
I feel like my entire wardrobe is pretty much Twilio swag, which is awesome.
There's a lot of it. Yeah. And I feel like we're at the forefront of the swag game because we're like the ones, going to conferences and having to be on camera and all that stuff. So I definitely, there's a lot, but I feel like, how long have you been at Twilio now, Anthony?
It's been 2 years.
Okay. We're all like around the same time, but like you see some of the stuff from the people who've been here like 5-10 years and there's so much swag that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard even Sam say that his mom made him a quilt of like a bunch of Twilio shirts because he had so many.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's the thing with the Twilio swag too, though. It's like, it's tough, especially when you see people in person. So this happened to us when we were in SF, because I'd be like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? They're like, oh, it's 10 seasons ago. And I'm like, that's not helpful. I'm like, I can't get this anymore. So then I'm just like, I don't know, maybe there should be like, what year? Yeah, like what year was this?
What vintage?
What vintage, yes.
Yeah.
Is it still in stock or something like that? And then I do think some of the shirts we should have like maybe we have like a portal where it's like, bring back these shirts, or something like that.
I got an old school shirt that I really like. It's the long sleeve white shirt with like the peace sign on it. It's got like some retro 80s vibes. And I got it because I was at somewhere where our like vendor that does swag, Canary, was there, and I just kind of like had somebody introduce me and sweet talk to them a little bit to get me a shirt, which was pretty cool.
No, the peace sign one is probably one of the ones that I saw too. I think someone had a jean jacket one too.
Oh, could that have been a jean jacket with pins? Because Dom has a bunch of good pins in his jean jacket.
Okay, so what you're saying is that Dom created his Twilios merch.
I think Dom created his swag, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Maybe
Cool.
we have a swag craft party. Okay, back to you, Anthony.
Yeah, back to you. So you're calling from Seattle.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right. Seattle, Washington. It looks like it's how about this? Take a guess what the weather is right now.
Cloudy and maybe threatening rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking out the window right now. Yep.
I wonder.
Nice.
Okay. So live from Seattle.
Live from rainy Seattle. It's almost June and it's still raining. It's a sad thing to see, but hopefully the rain goes away sometime soon because the summers here are spectacular. I don't know if
nice.
either of you have visited or anyone on stream has visited in the summer. It's so pretty.
It's on my to-do list.
When I was young, I spent 2 or 3 weeks doing like a kind of one of those little trips around Washington, and it's great. It's so nice in the summer. Yeah. What do you get up to in the summer? Like what makes summer special for you in particular?
So right now and during the winter, I feel like it's very cozy, right? Because it rains all the time and it's cloudy. So like typically you just want to like stay at home with a cup of coffee and just chill at home, right? And me, like I'm a homebody, so like I enjoy doing that. Um, but yeah, like during the summer, like when the rain goes away, pretty much the entire city like goes outside and like just I mean there's so many parks everywhere. There's national parks, there's state parks, there's just normal city parks that are incredible. And I remember like it was probably in like March, and that was like the first day that we we had sun uh after the winter. And like we went to a pretty famous park in downtown Seattle. It's actually like my favorite park, absolute favorite park, and that's where I fell in love with Seattle when I first visited. I got to see the skyline and I was like, oh, like this is beautiful. But we went there and like the entire city pretty much made the same decision, and like it was packed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Parks. I feel like parks are a big deal. Somebody joked, I live near a park here in Denver, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the beach in Denver, the park." And it's true. There's like on a nice day, like I actually wasn't around this weekend to go see, but there'll be like rows and rows and rows of volleyball courts. People playing volleyball and just having little parties and drinking, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Denver is really similar to Seattle. I mean,
yeah, we
minus
got
the
you.
rain.
We got you out here almost
Yeah,
exactly a year ago, I think. Right?
yeah, it was really
Yeah,
nice.
my first in-person TSL, Anthony came in and helped me out, which was really nice.
Oh, I didn't know that was your first one.
It was the first in-person one,
Oh, okay.
so I had done them before. But yeah, and you got to eat some good food out here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good food, big foodie. So I like that's my favorite thing to do is like pretty much just travel and like try the local cuisine whenever I go to a city.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
That
I don't remember what I had in Colorado.
That's okay.
I have
Colorado's
some.
food is good, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not Seattle or Atlanta, I'm
It's
sure.
very. It's. I feel like Colorado's food to me was very like fresh, farm to table kind of vibes, which I
Yeah.
really enjoyed. I had some of the best tacos out there. It's
Hmm.
just fun. I also feel like it's just like fun food, too. I've noticed. But I did like the food out there. It was pretty tasty. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Green chili.
so
Is that a
Yeah,
thing over there?
there's a lot of like green chili.
Oh,
You can get like smothered burritos and stuff like that. It's a pretty popular one.
so good. Okay,
okay.
so traveling, so foodie. I'll definitely come back to that, but I'm kind of wondering like how what is it? Yeah, like how did you even what was the Twilio journey?
Okay. Yeah, Twilio journey. So yeah, I'll talk about my like background a little bit. Basically started off my career as a software developer. I worked for a couple of pretty big companies in the US. So I worked for Bank of America and State Farm, and I was a developer at both places. And um, yeah, I basically like was doing that. One of the things that I was passionate about at the time was like sharing technical topics to internal like folks at the company. Looks like I'm lagging a little bit. I'm not sure if everyone's seeing that.
I think it's funny that we just pulled up you're Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah.
You're not
I
Kelly.
was like,
That's
I was
okay.
like, all good, all good.
That was good.
We'll get to
All good. But yeah, going back to that. There we
Woo!
go.
We
There
got it.
go.
Yes, you're Anthony.
Yeah.
See, so this is funny because we were talking about what is an Anthony. You know what is an Anthony? So the irony, that you were Kelly. You're Kelly. You were what was the other name that was mentioned? Too?
Nathan.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
Well,
but Anthony.
Pull in chat. Does Anthony look like a Nathan? That's a weird one, but like,
Yeah.
I don't
he's one
know.
of us. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Context for the chat. We were just talking earlier about how I don't think that I look like an Anthony. I kind of look like a Nathan, and I get that all the time. So yeah, just for context.
Yeah, so adding some more
Yeah.
context. Okay, so
Yeah.
you used to work at Bank of America,
Yeah, and State Farm.
State Farm.
State
So like
Farm.
big. So like
Yeah.
Twilio's small for you.
Yeah, Twilio's small for me. So I started off at like these huge enterprises with like hundreds of thousands of employees.
Yeah.
And like I was, very used to like the typical large enterprise of like super slow processes and like literally everything needs to get approved, even downloading
Mhm.
software. Like you can't just download software off of your computer. It has to like be available on like, one of their internal apps, or you have to go through certain approvals. So I'm super used to all that. And yeah, like earlier what I was talking about was I was really like passionate about like sharing technical topics to other employees. So I would like I would not only would I be a software developer, but I would also like do these can't remember if it was like monthly. I think it was like monthly, maybe bi-monthly, don't remember exactly, but I would like pick a different topic and then host these like larger kind of meetings where either me or some guests would talk about like a certain technical topic, and then it was just we would do it like around lunchtime just to like brush up on technical skills. And yeah, it was really fun. That's kind of how I kind of got into just overall evangelism, and just like it felt really good to like teach people certain things, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and that's kind of like how I transitioned from a software developer to developer relations,
Mhm.
and then Twilio. So
I,
yeah.
I just love that notion because we think of developer relations, especially just because we're on the developer network at Twilio, about being like a very external thing.
Mhm.
But like you got your start doing it internally. That's
Yeah.
just such an interesting perspective of like how you can get to the place that we're at now. But
Mhm.
you're so right that it's really about like a passion for learning new things and teaching others
Mhm.
about the new things that you're learning, and like in some ways bringing together a community. I'm sure that you had some people who are like regulars that you wouldn't have necessarily
Mhm.
interacted with otherwise. Not that dissimilar from some of the people that we have joining us on stream that we love. So
Mhm.
that's so cool. I like that. I like that start, and just that idea of like building community even at these bigger companies is so important, and that's how
Yeah.
you figure out that you like this work.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, a lot of people think of it as just external only, but it's really a combination, because at these large companies, especially since you've got so many employees, like um, it's good to like connect even internal employees, because not everyone knows each other, not everyone knows what tools certain teams
Mhm.
are using, right? Like
Hmm.
it's literally like multiple Twilios within a company in terms of size. So it's like it's difficult to share knowledge between all those different silos, and in large enterprises everything is siloed. That's the thing. So like one department is like a completely different organization than another organization or another department. So like bringing those topics to other people was really great, and yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so yeah, I like that, even that space around like things being siloed, because it's like you can forget for the most part someone might be working on a specific product with a specific, like there's a lot of just like specificities. So I do think even getting people outside of their typical outside of their comfort zones, like you said, connecting folks to others, like it's pretty solid. It's interesting even hearing you talk about that like large enterprise to the Twilio-ness, because even like for me, like I talked to Alex about this, but like even just that transition of just larger companies
Mhm.
to smaller ones, and just like processes and all the things. So it's just kind of interesting to hear what even how you were able to maintain this level of innovation and fun, even
Mhm.
at a larger company,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it can be hard too, like especially with your point, because everything is so big, everything is so processed that it
Mhm.
really doesn't feel fun a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It feels completely different than a medium or a smaller company, because again, everything is so by the book. So like doing something like that really does like bring a little bit of fun, even though it's like learning topics. It is
Mhm.
probably as I mean as fun as you can get. Right, and especially in those like regulated industries, right? Things
Yeah,
are
yeah.
right? Because those are banking and insurance, so everything is regulated, everything is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
to the dot, to the T. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to my days in startups where like you would just do whatever you want. And one of my friends at one point basically brought his whole team to a music festival as like team building. And that was that was just wild. You're like, what is going on here?
Wow. So funny story. Our team building activity was in an Olive Garden. So, I mean, I am kind of hating on Olive Garden here, but I mean, it's not the most fun place for a team building activity.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I think it's always so fascinating. Yeah, like startup land, like team building, and it's like, I think after a while, folks are like, maybe there's some liability here. Once you get the lawyers, they're probably like, maybe, I think the Olive Garden. I think the lawyers there probably went through all the cases of like minimal issues there. Maybe the biggest liability, like someone choking on a noodle, but like, hey, if that,
Garlic bread.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but aside from that, like, so yeah, that's real. Okay, so then you got here, and like, I feel like you've worked on certain products. Yeah, can you kind of, I think before you were working on a specific product, yeah, like how did
Yeah.
you figure out like, okay, this is what I want to focus in on?
Yeah. Good question. So, basically, I joined Twilio, and um, when I joined back in 2022, 2 years ago, like, basically how our evangelism team worked was that we were all like general product evangelists. So at Twilio, we've got, so many products. I don't even know how many of them are that there are, but we've got a bunch of different products. And essentially, the evangelism team would work on certain products. So, for example, like maybe one time you'll work on a messaging product, messaging application. Another time you'll work on voice. Another time you'll work on SendGrid. And things were kind of like all over the place. And when I first started, I was playing around with different products, and for some reason, I just kind of like gravitated towards our bread and butter, which is messaging. To me, it's the most fun product to use. So a lot of my applications were built on top of messaging, and basically, I primarily focused on messaging, and then maybe a year into being at Twilio, our team direction was moving towards product evangelism rather than being generalists again. So what we did is we had different evangelists work on different products specifically. So currently, I'm a messaging evangelist, so I work on our messaging product for the most part. So a lot of times, whenever I work on demos or give talks or something like that, it'll be heavily focused on messaging for the most part. So that's kind of how I got started there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I get that. I feel like messaging is just the like most basic intro to Twilio. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's what makes, I love giving demos as somebody from Twilio because like everybody loves the magic of like having something pop up on their phone.
Yeah.
It's a really cool demo and I really like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
It's such a cool product. Like, it's just so fun. You can literally use it for any application that you can possibly think of, and I just love it personally. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. I just think it's a freaking awesome product.
So
you see the passion.
Yeah.
We're gonna go later and do some demos, but for now, like, what are some of the favorite things that you've built, like with messaging? Like, what are some of your favorite kind of magic moments around that?
So I would definitely say my favorite thing that I've built is the thing that I'll demo later on.
Sweet.
So yeah, I'll show it to everyone
the best
here.
for us.
Yeah. So it is a magic trick. It's a Twilio powered messaging magic trick, and yeah, I mean, I'll do it later. I didn't practice, so it could go a little bit wrong, but in theory, what should happen is I have a deck of cards, and a typical magic trick is somebody picks a card, they look at it, and then the magician like guesses what their card is. So basically, I built an application where you text a Twilio number and it will guess what your card is. So basically, it is it's a Twilio powered magician, and it's by far like the coolest thing that I've built. I built it pretty recently too. I think I built it like maybe a month or two ago. And yeah, I love it. I think it's so fun. I show it to like friends too. Like it's not just
Nice.
something that I do at work. It's like I show it to everyone that I can.
Yeah, the first demo I made was like something around waiting for my baby who was super late, and like all my friends were using it, and it was just like this cool moment of being able to like share what I do with the people who wouldn't normally see it. So yeah, it's really fun when you get that.
Yeah, totally. I also built one. It was either last year or 2 years ago that like I really enjoyed. And it was have you seen the movie Scream? Like most people have seen it, right? Like the Halloween movie. Yeah. So there's like a famous scene in there where like I think it's in the beginning of the movie where there's a girl in the kitchen and then she gets a phone call and then basically she's talking to the guy Ghostface, and there's like a creepy interaction. So for Halloween, I recreated an application where I'm trying to remember exactly how it works, but like basically I think you text it, or I think you text the phone number and then it calls you, and then you're like hello, and then it's using voice recordings from the movie, and based on what you say it'll like go to different paths, and then from clips in the movie, so you could literally have the conversation from the movie, and it's pretty creepy. And like that was something that I so for Halloween too that year I dressed up as Ghostface, and then I had a piece of paper on my chest that was like text this number. So when I went to Halloween parties I was like, hey, text this number, and then I like freaked some people out. Like they called it and they were like, oh, this is creepy, like what's going on? So that was really fun too.
That's a good one. And that was, I'm guessing, before, was that using AI or before AI?
That was before AI.
So it was just like decision trees and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was literally just like, hey, if you say this, go here.
Yeah.
If you say this, go here. And there were just voice recordings. Yeah.
That's fun. Was that a studio thing, or did you?
Yeah, it was studio. Okay, nice. It was studio. Yeah.
So studio drag and drop editor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Studio is the best tool.
I think I added the right one in the chat. Hopefully
you did. I think.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah,
I think. But Halloween is such a fun time for demos.
Yeah.
Like I did one where people like my house, we like decorate our house as like a monster, and people could call the house and it would like talk to them. And that was like my first time using AI with like a weird 11 Labs voice. But yeah, Halloween just gives you like so much good content for demos. It's just like such a fun time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I also think it's like,
oh, go ahead.
No, you can go.
No, I was just gonna like say, like this year for Halloween, I'm definitely gonna like try and do something too, and try and incorporate like an IoT device or something. I still haven't played around with IoT yet, but like it's been on my bucket list for like a long time. So I really want to do something with IoT and Twilio. Yeah.
We're gonna bookmark this. Let's build it on stream, Anthony.
I
got a closet full of Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was literally like, you're talking to the right person. I'm like, out of all people, I was like, Alex.
I think I'm the second best person. The best person to talk to about this would be Christine Sunu, because she at one point was the formal IoT evangelist back when Twilio had an IoT. But when I started, because of my background in robotics, I ended up doing a lot of stuff with the IoT team. And so I was kind of like the semi-IoT person until they got spun out. But I love playing with some of the stuff in the physical world. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I think going back into even the Halloween demos, I think it's like there's the in-person to the digital. And I think being able to connect both of them. So even just like you doing something with your house, Alex, or Anthony doing something with like, I'm wearing a shirt. I do think sometimes it could be strictly digital, but I do think Halloween can make it like a play on both, right? Where it's like, let's bring it all together, which I think can be a little.
And it's a time where like people are more into the like festivities of doing something a little weird and off.
Yes.
And I think that makes it easier. Like, I don't know. I don't know what like a summer demo is. People are just like, I don't want to. I'm like lying here in the sun and the grass in this beautiful park. Like, leave me alone.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
Like,
holidays are great.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder if it's more so, especially the ones that are later in the year. Cause like you said, springtime, am I excited to do a demo? I don't know. Versus you have the holiday, like the holiday, the holidays towards the end of the year.
The winter holidays.
The winter holidays, I promise.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another great holiday too. Like,
yeah, you can do some fun demos there too.
Yeah, for sure.
For like, yeah. Okay,
Summer
so
demo.
we have
automatic fire salt guns for mosquitoes. Yes, we can get some text-based mosquito containment maybe. We'll get to work on that, revertibles, some SMS-based mosquito repellent.
Yeah. Of course. That was not a very assured. Yeah, of course. But I'm gonna crack
just
up because
215-555 zapped.
But you know what's so funny? Someone's gonna create that, and like we're gonna be like, "Wow, you remember that one time Robertables said we should probably." Like the way everything's set up, I feel like I wouldn't put it past the world and the internet to create something. So yeah.
Cool. Anthony, I'm curious, like when you're making these demos, what language do you normally code in?
So normally it's Python.
Okay.
And in terms of like my programming history, I would say that pretty much was programming in Java for most of my early career. So like in college, and then the first 2 jobs that I had out of college were basically in Java. Or like a variant of Java.
Yeah.
I used Java, and then whenever I went into DevRel, I was like, hey, like, I think it might be better if I did demos in Python, just because it's so easy for, people to understand what we're writing, and they don't even really have to know Python to kind of understand what's going on. So basically I switched to Python, and pretty much all of my projects, or the majority of them, are written in Python for that reason. So yeah, I'd say like most of the apps are built on Python. Some of them I build in like JavaScript, but I'm not a good JavaScript developer at all. Like I use Google or Stack Overflow, or now ChatGPT if I want to do something with JavaScript. Yeah.
I feel like I had a similar thing where coming in, I'd done a little Python, but like my primary language was C++, and I'm not about to go do a bunch of demos in C++. I'm happy that I haven't written a line of C++. I take that back. I've written some C because that's what like Arduinos run off of. But like I haven't done much C++, but there's something I've transitioned mostly into JavaScript because the thing I hate the most is like setting up the back end of systems. And so I just use the Twilio like functions, and that's all in JavaScript. But Python is a nice language because it is so easy to see what's happening. Versus like getting your head around like synchronous and asynchronous and JavaScript and how that all works is a lot.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, because I've tried like learning that so many times, and I feel like it always goes over my head. I'm like, this is how you do this, and then like I don't code in JavaScript all the time, and then I forget it, and I have to like relearn it. So
I get how synchronous works, I get how synchronous works, but it's just like a lot of times it's easier just to make things asynchronous. So I default to asynchronous and then like turn it off if it makes sense. But I feel you.
Yeah.
Python's fun, and I haven't coded in JavaScript since I was like 17. Or sorry, Java, not JavaScript, Java. JavaScript I've done a lot of, but do you miss it?
No. No, I don't. I mean, I pretty much only wrote it just because that was like the language that I used at my job. But I mean, I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest with you. I liked how verbose it was, because like you could like really understand everything in a large code base, because again, like for these large companies, you're working on these huge applications that like
Mm-hmm.
you don't work on like a lot of the pieces of an application, so a lot of your time is spent reading other people's code. So I did like that aspect of Java. Like it's kind of easy to read other people's code, I thought. um but yeah, I mean, I haven't written Java in like 2 years, basically. Ever since I left the job, I don't think I've touched Java once. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe one time since then, but it's not something that I particularly miss.
Well, I actually have a question, and this is something that we've asked a few other evangelists that come on. The one of the interviews for getting a job at Twilio, you have to give a non-Twilio tech demo. What was your presentation? What'd you do?
Yeah, mine was okay. So what I did was I built so typically for an interview, you go into the interview and then you like give your demo. But I did two things. So I gave my demo, but then I also built a website, like kind of like a resume website that was just tailored towards this Twilio interview. So I built a website that was like, my domain.com/Twilio or something like that. And then I made it look exactly like our Twilio docs. So it replicated Twilio docs. Yeah. But then you could go through, instead of each product, it would list like something about me. So you would click on it and then it would like go to my resume, or you could like learn about like what I've done in DevRel, or like what my 1 year goal is. So I had like a timeline of like, hey, this is what I'm going to do in my first year. And then it had examples of what I've written, like blog post examples, what I've done in terms of DevRel. So it was like a whole like portfolio that I built. And I remember I spent like a long time building it. Like I think I spent maybe like 40 hours or something like working on that. Yeah, like because it was pretty detailed actually, and I'm not sure if thankfully it worked. Yeah.
I mean, like it worked, you got the job.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I feel like you have I might, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you have like some design some design energy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that was not that I was talking about you, Anthony. But it's just like I feel like somewhere we were talking about Anthony and design. So did you kind of pull from that, or
Yeah, for sure. Like design is I'm surprised you noticed that, but like design is something that I've always had an interest in. Like in undergrad, I was actually in the UX design club. And like I've always been into design. Like I just think that like beautiful interfaces just make everyone happy, and like I think that Apple is kind of like proof that good design works. But yeah, like I love to like make most, like usually if I'm working on some type of project or something, I usually like to beautify it in some way. Like I don't just like, even if it's something like really basic, like I like to put some kind of touch or some kind of flair into what I'm doing, just because I think that like it makes it a little bit more personal. It makes it like, whenever somebody sees it as a deliverable, they might like it a little bit more. So yeah, I'm glad that you noticed that actually. I didn't think people did, but yeah.
No, I think design, I also have lots of designer friends. But I think for me, it's always cool to see kind of the intersection, because to me, design is also storytelling. So it's like you're adding to the conversation. So like, yes, there's code, but I do think, how do you tell that holistic story? So even you leveraging like docs to tell the story of your resume, it was relevant to the audience. And like, yes, you could have given people a resume document, but there's something to be said about you leveraging a visual that people had seen before, that they love already, right? So it's like I was able to tell a wider story. But yes, like Alex said, clearly it worked. So
thankfully.
and
like just a thought that like popped in my head. Like I know that, so typically for interviews, there's like generally like two different types of interviews. I feel like one type is like, hey, you're gonna get this coding problem that you have to solve right then and there. And then another type is like, hey, we'll give you like a little project that you have
Mhm.
time to work on, you can spend some time doing. um and I at least whenever I do research online or I look at different communities online, it feels like most of the people do not like doing those take home projects because they feel like it takes a lot of time and basically they're not getting paid for their time because, right,
Yeah.
you might spend 20 hours or something doing that project, and it to a lot of people it feels like you're just doing work for that company. But for me, I actually prefer that because I like taking my time. I feel like it gives me more time to think. Like I don't like, being on the spot and like having to solve a problem right then and there and feeling rushed. So for me, I actually prefer that. And I like would encourage people to like, um if you ever get like a take home assignment, I like, in my opinion, I think it's just better because again, you have so much time to think and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think like you clearly put a lot of time and thought into yours, which is ideal. But I don't always think that's necessary. Like I think you
Mm.
still need to put time and thought into it, but I think there's a way to do it a little bit shorter, which is like,
Yeah.
how do you get I tell people this whenever they're doing an interview like that. We had somebody join our team and I was talking to them about like how to do it. And I was just like, make sure it's simple and you get to that magic moment. And like
Mm.
that's the key.
Mm.
And you don't want it too simple. You want to still show that you're doing something interesting, but like there's such a balance there. And I think it's actually so much more about storytelling than it is
Mm.
necessarily about like showing off your technical chops,
Yeah.
which to some extent just appeals to a different type of person, right? If you're just like a heads down coder, yeah, you probably want somebody to just see your technical chops and like see how you can do it on the fly. But I've always been more of like a storyteller. So I agree with
Mhm.
you. Like I like those take home projects because it lets you put a little more of your own flair and show yourself a little bit more,
Mhm.
which it's probably different for different jobs, right? Like this job is, you need that.
Mhm.
So I feel
Yeah.
you on
Even that conversational aspect too, because like you said, just solving the problem, like while that's great and all, but it's like, can we talk through this? Like, how did you arrive here? What were some of the challenges you went through? But I think it can be very easy to just be like, okay, I did this, or I completed it. But I do get what you're saying, Anthony, in terms of the like wanting, kind of taking your time, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't
Yeah.
have to just be like, look at me, like I did this, super quick. I think I will say I kind of blame some of the startups during the times, like during previous years, because I do think you would have these companies would get a lot of people interviewing with them, and they'll be like, wow, great code. I think I'll use that and I won't hire you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think it just started to create a level of distrust.
Yeah.
And people were like,
yeah.
wait, isn't that the presentation I made for you? Like, like a
That's
year ago?
that's one side. I also think it like and sometimes tests the wrong thing. So I had one. I was looking at trying to get a job at an IoT company, and they asked me to build a like controller for like the like Philips Hue lights.
Mhm.
And they're like, and compile it for these different systems. And I didn't have a PC, so I couldn't get mine to compile for Windows.
Mm.
Like, you shouldn't not hire me because didn't figure out how to compile it to Windows. That's like
Mm.
something like somebody should be able to tell me how to do that at some point, or like work it somewhere else. It felt like the wrong reason to like not include me, and they never gave me any feedback. So I don't know if that's why, but it felt weird to be like, why? Like that's the smallest thing. Like you when like in my mind, when you want somebody to code for you, you almost want to know, yeah, what they know, but also like how quickly can they pick stuff up and learn. Like that's
Yeah.
almost more important than like just purely what they know.
Yeah.
But you're interviewing smartly. Like, not everyone thinks of that. Like for some folks, they're just like, can you do this right? Versus like, what's your process? So I do think some people are more invested in like processes versus not. So I do think I think it all depends on what people think helps success, you know? But we did also ask folks a question of like the Twilio demo that you did. Do you feel like you could do it again today? And if you were to do it again today, like what would you change?
Yeah. So do you mean the demo for the interview or the?
Yeah.
The demo for the interview.
Okay. Wait. So what was the question again? Could I do it again?
Yeah.
Could you do it again? You were like, could you do it again today?
Oh well. So I actually so earlier I was talking about the website that I built, right? But that was only one part of it. So the actual demo portion of it was I actually used a competitor, a Twilio competitor. So I did a demo with Vonage. And so
how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. So just imagine going to a company and being like, hey, for this interview, I'm going to talk about your competitors. And that's basically what I did. I kind of did like a competitive analysis, and I talked about the shortcomings and the strengths of our competitor. It was kind of like pretty risky, right? Like, I mean, usually people typically would not do something like that. And it's totally understandable, but like, that's the direction that I went, and it worked.
Yeah, I think it works at Twilio too, because like, I don't know, I haven't done a ton of stuff with Vonage, but like, we generally have a pretty good product.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going somewhere being like, look at this better version of what you do. It's like, hey, there's probably some pros and cons, but like in general, Twilio is great. So yeah, that's really funny. I like that.
Yeah. And then
yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, Bianca, to answer your question, like, could I do it right now? I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure it's like, I'm sure I could like do it if I had like docs. I mean, right? It would take like a couple of minutes probably, but I would have to go through like their A to P, A to P10 DLC thing as well. But I mean,
yeah, that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, mine. I realized I couldn't do mine because I don't think I have any Linux dual boots. Like, I think I've like cleared those off my machines, and my demo is in Linux.
Wait, what did you do?
I did something with the robot operating system ROS, and I like did this demo where I like made a little, like, it was like a little cartoon robot, like just make a circle, and then I showed how you can quickly switch it over and do it in simulation. I really wanted to get like a real robot moving, but I didn't have the time. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I had like a full like simulated robot running in circles, which was
that's cool. Awesome. That's so awesome.
Hey, I got robotics. It's fancy and flashy.
It was the thing. And then the scuba diving, you had a little like, that was the Alex story. It worked. It worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So today
we have Ken, aka Frosty, joining us, who says he uses Twilio primarily for SMS and some SendGrid stuff, which is great because, Anthony, let's dive into your demo, which uses SMS.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So for the demo, I'm not going to show you any code, actually. I just have this
because it's a magic trick.
Yeah, because it's a magic trick, and I'm not going to reveal how it's done. But I just have this up on screen, basically just for for filler and for vibes. But okay, let's try this. So I'll be honest, I didn't practice this pretty recently, but we'll see how it goes. But
Robertables, we're gonna try to do the Penn and Teller vibe thing where we try to figure it out without telling you what it is. So we're gonna do that, but let's.
Oh, I love that.
Anthony, give the trick.
Penn and Twilio magic show. Yeah.
Penn and Twilio magic show. Oh, yeah. I didn't even that part. That's even better.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Penn and Twilio.
10 points show for you, Robertables.
Okay. So what I have here is a deck of cards, and hopefully you can see that. I actually have like in a normal deck of cards, there's usually like 4 cards that are like kind of throwaway cards. So I'm gonna remove the Joker. I'm gonna have to find the other ones in this deck because I shuffled it up incorrectly. Let's see. This one right here is just a blank card I'm gonna get rid of. Another Joker. So there's 2 Jokers, and then just this card is front and back. I'm going to get rid of that. And what I have here is a deck of cards, a deck of playing cards. As you can see, they're just normal cards. And this is kind of hard to do on camera, but hopefully y'all can see that these are normal cards that are just randomly in a random order. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this deck, and I'm going to just do it on camera, right? And hopefully I can do this. Oh, I dropped a couple of cards. But I'm basically just showing you the cards just so that you know that like I'm actually like shuffling them.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any funny business here. I'm not a magician. Like I'm terrible with actually like handling the cards.
I feel like that would be a good magician gag, is like someone's like pretends to be terrible and then like is actually amazing.
So somebody showed me a somebody who won this magic world magic competition, and that was his thing. Like he basically like pretended to be a bad magician, and he was like shuffling the cards, and he did it really bad, but like he made one of the cards just like fall down, but it fell down like very nicely. Like he somehow like threw it and placed it somewhere. It was super cool.
Nice.
But that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just genuinely bad at
shuffling.
But
Anthony's struggling to shuffle. Check. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So what I've done here is I've shuffled all these cards up, and what we're gonna do is it's gonna be like I'm gonna have you pick a card. So what I will do is let's see. So I'm trying to think how I'm gonna do this on camera, but basically I'm gonna try to fan out the cards as best as I can, and let's try and fan this out even more. So I'm gonna fan out the cards like this, and I'll probably like have my finger here, and I'll just like scroll, like move my finger back and forth. And how about this? Like Bianca, you can tell me when you want me to stop. And actually, what I need to do too is I need to like look away. So I just want to assure the guests here that I will not look at the card.
Why don't you flip them the other way so we can see the bottom? So we can see the
Yeah.
things and you can see them and you can't.
Yeah, that works. Good idea. So I'll flip them around, and then I'll do the same thing. And yeah, I'm not looking at the camera, I promise. Stop here.
Well, no, go
up.
Go up a bit. Yeah.
Here.
Yep.
Here or
yeah, right here.
Okay, right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is hard to do on stream. Sorry if that's not the one you wanted, but you could see the card, right? It's on camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want both of you to memorize this card and remember it. And like, if you're watching on stream, I want you to take note of this card as well.
Okay.
And let me know when you have it memorized. Don't share it with in the chat or anything like that, because like you don't want me to know it. So you got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, got it.
So, all right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the card face down on the pile, on the top of the pile, and I wasn't looking. Like I swear I wasn't looking. I don't know if y'all trust me or not, but I was not looking.
We'll give you the benefit of trust right now.
Okay.
See what happens.
Yeah, and because like it's hard to do with my camera setup, like I've just put the cards face down, and I'm not looking at them. My hands are going to be up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my phone, which I am sharing on screen here, and I have this. I have my messaging application open, and here I've got a Twilio phone number that's saved as my Twilio card guesser, and I'm gonna ask my card guesser what your card was. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
So yeah, and I obviously can't guess what the card is. I have no idea what it is, but our Twilio app will hopefully know what your card is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna send a text, and we're gonna say something like greetings, what is my card Twilio? And yeah, we're just going to be like, greetings, what is my card Twilio? And then once I send this text message, we should get back our card. Was that your card?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Would it work if we did it a second time?
It would work. Yeah, it would work.
I don't know. That was like, this feels spooky.
That was wild.
That. Oh my. Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Whoa
Yeah.
there.
Pretty cool, huh? And
I think especially since you grabbing the card was so chaotic, I was just like, I was not expecting
it to work. Yeah.
it to work.
And then here are the cards on the top of the deck. So it was the King of Hearts, and then like these were the other cards. Just so the audience knows that they're not like duplicates or whatever. They're not all King of Hearts, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Yeah. Sus.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah, like I was doing this demo like 2 weeks ago. So I went to PyCon, which is a Python conference, huge Python conference, and I was doing this. I think I did it like 77 times, because later on I looked at the logs and I guessed 77 times. So I basically performed this trick 77 times in front of people, and like it was so fun to see their react. Like everybody was like freaking out. It was pretty sweet. But yeah,
That's cool.
Do you want to try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared. I'm scared
It'll
that
work
you're
again.
gonna get it. I know.
No, okay.
But
So look again. Here, that's what I should have done. I should have put him closer to
Yeah.
the camera.
And here's we can't see your phone right now, but that's okay. Stop. Oh, you're fine.
Wait.
Get
I
your
have to do
camera.
it
Get
again.
your phone working.
Yeah. Let me get my phone working. Okay.
see, this is the thing I don't like about magic tricks, because they like, yeah.
Do they freak you out?
Like literally, like I'm like.
Do we?
reverse-
We can get chat to do this. If chat wants to give us a number between 1 and 52,
Yeah,
then we can
let's
count
do
that many cards out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good
So
idea.
whoever puts a number in the chat first,
That's a really good
Yes.
idea.
that's between 0 or 1 and 52.
Please
And
don't
then
make it a
we'll
high
use-
number, because okay,
Yeah,
11.
Great.
Okay.
Revertible says 11. Perfect.
Perfect.
We're gonna do that.
So I'll do I'm trying to think how I'll do this. So
yeah,
here,
just
one,
count 11 cards. Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the 11th one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what
Can't
I'll
look.
do, yeah, I can't look. I'm
Just
not looking.
flip it up to us and then put it back.
Okay, you got it.
Go one more.
Yeah. Go on more.
Do one more card.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So this
We
card.
wanted 12.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have it memorized?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting it down.
Cool.
Right. Okay. Now I wasn't looking. Right. I'm setting the cards down. Okay. Not looking. And
Did we write it down? We wrote it down, people.
I got it. Yeah.
Everyone.
okay.
Got it in
Okay.
my head.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna be like, greetings. What is my? So what I'll do is I'll just be like, okay, greetings, Twilio. What is my card? And is that the card?
What is going on? I
You got
can't.
it.
I can't.
You got it?
I'm a
You
little
got it.
disturbed. I'm disturbed.
So we had you go one more because it was the same card, and I was like, "Oh, you're just like really good
Oh,
at
it was
getting
the
us."
same card?
This the first at 11 was the same card, so we
Oh,
had you
that's
go one
wild.
more. But like
That's crazy.
salt everywhere, yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna send care packages of salts. If you or anyone who was watching this stream.
So I'm gonna ask a few questions to see if I can figure out what's going on here. And you don't have to.
Whoa.
If you
Okay.
want to stop, that's fine.
Okay.
So this works in person without a camera with just you and your phone, right?
Yeah. There's no cameras involved.
Got it.
Yeah.
Would it work if I sent the text message, or does it come from you?
It would work on your phone. It would work on any phone number that's
Okay.
texting it.
Got it.
Mhm.
If I asked what this might be giving too much away. If it's right.
You might be giving away a little bit
Okay.
too much.
I think I'll ask you later if I've solved it, but I think I might.
Yeah,
I think I might have it.
that was good. So
Do
Yeah, so that was a good thought process there. Like, and I'll tell you. So I mentioned earlier at PyCon, I basically did this like 77 times, and like I'd say the vast majority of people were just like, "Oh my goodness, I could not figure it out." There was one person who figured it out instantly, kind of like how Alex just did it. So Alex, you're in that 1% tier right there. But the thing is, I only performed the trick one time. For you, I did it twice, which I probably shouldn't have. But it's okay. Like, there was one person who got it kind of instantly. There was another person who had the best reaction I've ever seen. So like he freaked out, and he stood there for 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, literally just thinking about how I did it. And he would ask me questions back and forth. And then after 20 or 30 minutes, he kind of was on the right track. Then the next day he came back again, and he was like, "Hey, Anthony, like I had nightmares last night thinking about this. Like I couldn't figure it out because you might be able to figure out half of the trick, but there's a whole nother half that like that you might not know. I mean, some people will know how to do it, obviously, if you're into magic, but yeah, I mean, that was a really good guess, Alex.
I slacked you. Tell me if I'm right.
Oh, I didn't see your Slack. Let's
Hold on. The
see.
Slack might pop up on the screen though, so just be careful.
We're not sharing screen, but yeah.
Am I sharing my screen?
No, your screen's off.
You're good.
So you can look right now and check. Yeah, How to Win Friends and Traumatize Others, a new book about Twilio magic.
Twilio magic.
Yeah. Twilio literally magic.
So yeah, Alex, you're correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so also it's kind of funny because like initially whenever I did the trick, like I was like, oh, I'm not going to share it with anyone, even Twilio employees, Twilions, I'm not going to share it with anyone. But then like I started thinking about it, and I was like, hey, I should share it with like other evangelists or other people in DevNet so that they can do it too.
I'm just gonna say even pulling this trick off requires a lot of solid code to get it working right, and just like you need to be on top of it. So like
you have to be on top of it.
Yeah, even like this is impressive even without even me knowing it. It actually, me knowing how it works now makes it, I'm more impressed.
Yeah. That's exactly I know what you mean. Yeah. Because there's a whole nother aspect of it.
But like don't guess in chat. We're fine. We got this. But like this is the point where like I like one of us would have come up and whispered, or I would have had some code words in the Penn and Teller show. And you'd be like, yeah, you got it.
We already like a hidden word.
Yeah. Bold Big Flask, we already did the trick, but if you want to go back and watch it on
do you want to see it?
We already did it twice.
I mean, I can do it again. Here.
You want to do it one more time?
I could do it again.
So this is where the drama.
Just give me a second. Let's not share my screen quite yet. 1 second.
Oh, you're good.
I love this. That's a great trick. Oh,
okay. Yeah. Let's I think
I like this better because somebody, Ricky Robinette, who used to work on the DevNet, he had a bunch of magic tricks too, and he would always use AI for them. Hey, since you requested this Bold Big Flask, give us a number, but maybe on the lower half, preferably, so it doesn't have to count. But like of cards that we're going to go down, and we'll do that. We'll go do that and see.
So like 1 to 52, but preferably closer.
Yeah. In the first chunk of those.
I love revertibles. The comedy of the like.
Okay.
With, oh my gosh.
Okay, so here I'm just shuffling the cards.
Okay.
Mr. Bold, and what I'm gonna do is I am gonna count 8 cards. So we're gonna go, and I'm just gonna put the cards down on my table. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the next card is the 8th card. So I am not looking at the card, and I want you all to memorize it.
Sweet.
So
what it is.
so everyone looked out the screen.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not
Okay.
looking. All right, you
Big
got
gold
it?
flank. You got that?
Got it.
Got it?
Get ready for your mind to be blown. Okay.
I'm putting
got
the
it.
card. I'm putting the card down. Okay.
Okay.
Right. I'm not looking at it, and we have an application here that is going to guess your card. So basically, I'm going to pull up my phone, be like, "Hello, Twilio. What is my card?" We're going to send this text, and our Twilio application.
If it does it again.
What?
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. Nice.
I love this trick. This trick is so good.
Thank you.
That was wild.
I think
So-
Was it worth it? Bold big flank.
Yeah. Hopefully you liked it.
I hope you like that. That was good. I really like that.
Thank you.
That's such a good trick. This is maybe my new favorite demo. What I was saying before you did it again was like, Ricky Robinette did a bunch of magic tricks with AI, but it was all based on the fact that there's certain, like, AI is really bad at being random. So like there was a while where if you said, give me a random number between 1 and 6, like roll a dice, it would AI would always say 4. And so he could basically be like, ask AI to give you, like, he did a demo for us at one point where he was like, give us a random forest creature. And then it was like, it's 80% of the time it's like a red fox or something. And so like he could do a magic trick basically like having something with knowing it was probably going to be red fox. But I like this magic trick better because this is real. That was awesome.
I'm just cracking up. I'm like, revertibles. I'm like wondering what the expense report would have to be. Hey, I need to update my computer. What happened to it? Oh,
yeah. What's your revertibles? What's your Sage budget for work?
Yeah, like, like, can you expense that? Like, I don't know. But I will say, no, this was good.
Thank you.
I think like, especially since there's so many different moving pieces at the same time, like I think being able to keep it engaging, use something that like people are used to using before, like text messaging, right? But like I love the whole text messaging to magic trick connection because it's like, whoa, like especially playing on the fact that people always feel like our phones are spying on us. Now we'll also be like, wow, Anthony's spying on us.
Literally.
But
so
yeah.
Yeah, and then going back on Alex's earlier AI point. So actually, initially when I built the app, I incorporated AI. So but I commented it out currently because it takes too long. So what the app is doing is it's making a call to Dolly 3, which is generating an image of the card. So it should, in theory, like actually show up a card, and it actually shows an image of your card instead of just saying it. But the problem with it is so the application is built with Twilio serverless functions, and it takes I think the timeout is like 10 seconds, a maximum of 10 seconds.
We've learned.
I've ran into that.
Yeah, and Dolly literally takes like probably around 10 to 12 seconds.
It's like 9 to 12 seconds. So it works like a third of the time.
Yeah, it works a third of the time. So what I ended up doing is I just commented it out because it's instant feedback, which I think is nice. And then as far as like other ideas, like moving forward, I think I have an even better idea on making it like another basically version 2.0. So instead of how this works, imagine, so right now I used my phone, right? And like I had a lot of people at PyCon, for example, they were like, oh, it must be something with your phone, like it's your phone. So what I'm going to do next time is I'm going to be like, hey, let me use your phone. So I'm going to ask them for their phone, and I'm going to be like, hey, is it okay if I use your phone to do this? And then I'll use their phone. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, guess my card. And then I'm going to incorporate voice as well. So I'm going to go. Yeah. So like messaging is cool for this, but I think it would be super cool if they get a phone call on their phone and they answer it, and then it, in a AI voice or whatever, it just says like, Ace of Hearts, and
I
think that
also
would
think
be
it
really cool.
brings up the creepiness
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
All of a
then
sudden
it's
you get a
like,
phone call.
Yeah,
like, and it's like,
yeah,
wait, someone knows the card, like you weren't even in the
exactly.
room.
Yep.
No, yeah, I'm still cracking up of just of the comments about needing sage for the bot, for the stream, the salt. I was like, no context chat. No, yeah, how did you feel like you got into just like doing the magic tricks?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
curious about that.
that's a great question. So basically, right, I joined Twilio 2 years ago, and somehow I stumbled, like during my first year at Twilio, I stumbled on Twilio Magic, which is there. So there's a magician who actually does
Yeah.
a lot more Twilio Magic. I forget his name is I'm blanking on his name, but
I'll find
basically,
it.
yeah, he's a magician who does a lot of, Doug McKinsey. He does a lot
Mhm.
of card tricks with Twilio, and his tricks are like way better than this, obviously, because he's a magician. But basically, that's how I got the idea, and I like ever since I heard about it, I was like, oh, how can I do this myself? I would love to do it at events, and I remember I reached out to some Twilions like a couple of years ago, and I was like, hey, do you know how Doug does his tricks? And they were like, yeah, we kind of do, but we're not going to share it because we don't want to share it.
He also placed a curse, so if you share it, then you really need to get the sage and the salt.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, basically, it was in the back of my head for the last 2 years, and I've been thinking about it for 2 years. Like, how do we do it? How does it work? And then pretty recently, our team did like this demo jam where we had like, essentially it was like a little hackathon where we could just think about fun projects. So at that time I was like, oh, I've got a couple of days to think about a new demo, and I was like, hey, now's the perfect time to try and do some research and learn how he does this. And I spent a couple of days. I have no background in magic. I have no idea how it worked, and I just did a lot of Googling, and I got lucky and I stumbled on certain magical terms and whatnot, and then I ended up figuring it out. And then I was like, okay, let me build out the application, and I practiced it and basically built it within like 2 or 3 days. So that's kind of how it went.
Good demo.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So yeah, one of our other former Twilions, I think like Greg, has gotten into magic, and I think hearing him and Ricky break down kind of some of the little things that they were learning, you're like, oh, like, and it's in those tiny moments, like it's often in those tiny moments that the magic trick really is happening, and you're like, wait, what? So yeah, this is pretty awesome.
I think there's like some parallels too between like magic and coding, right? Like good
there is.
product design and good code almost feels like magic, right? It's like that. What's that saying? Like sufficiently advanced technology feels like magic or something like that. There's some better way of saying it, but it's basically like, but if you build something really good, it feels magical, and like it's that thing. And I just love bringing that into the tech demo because that is super cool. And yeah, I bet there's a bunch of like fun little creepy things. Now I feel like we need a helper model or like a helper server to get like callbacks better from DALL-E. I'm like thinking about like we need to just build something so we can actually like use image generation with Twilio functions.
All I thought about was the chicken nuggets.
We did a demo where we tried to like have the image recognition, which also takes about 9 to 12 seconds. And it like every third time it worked, it was just like if it happened to be fast enough.
It only worked on chicken nuggets. When we had a whole chicken, it was like no. And then it was like chicken nuggets. Then for some reason, like
that's funny.
That was
that's funny.
No, that's what I think. Even the aspect of like that the Twilio magic and like I think it's kind of interesting, this aspect of so much of code, it's so behind the scenes, but all you see is like the effects. Like I
Mhm,
think about even something as like car ride sharing, right?
mhm,
You know, when
Mhm.
a lot of these technologies came up, you're like, what? I just press a button and someone just comes to my door. And I will say, while that is awesome, I do think it's created an era and a generation that thinks that you just press buttons and like things happen. And I do wonder that balance of like we've made technology feel so magical that people don't realize like there's actually a lot of stuff, right? Like there's actually a lot of stuff that is going behind,
oh yeah,
like that goes into making something. And it's like, I guess I wonder even that aspect of like, how do you balance the magic, but also the, you don't want to give people too much behind the scenes, but I do think
Mhm.
it can create a space that like people
mhm,
think everything that involves code is just like,
And
magic.
it it's actually getting even like that things even flippier because like Chef Brent pointed out in chat here, he's like, yeah, you don't even have to push buttons anymore. You can kind of just shout into the air. And I think like like AI is a little bit of that, right? Like you can kind of just like, I mean, we've had Siri for a while or Alexa, like they work fine, but like it's getting even better now where you can just be like in voice, like, hey, do this thing for me. Like we saw like a lot, I think all of us saw that like
Hmm.
GPT-4 Omni
mm,
video where
yeah,
they're just like, hey, solve this math problem I just drew out. Like that's
Hmm.
pretty wild. And you're
it's
right,
so
it gets
wild.
like even more magical um there. And yeah, it's there's so much magic in code. And
Yeah,
we're just
and
yeah.
like even when I was researching like magic, um, I didn't realize that magic itself is it's really similar to code itself too. Like you wouldn't really think like I feel like the at least my perception of magic before was just like, oh, it's it's just a bunch of like little like tricks basically. But
Mhm.
in reality, a lot of magicians are um there's math, there's probability, there's a lot of things um that are really interesting. And like what it's kind of like code too, right? You take a little piece of a magic trick, you mix it with another piece of a magic trick, you come up with creative ways of structuring the magic trick and telling the story. So it really is like coding
Yeah.
or just problem solving basically. Like magic is
Mhm.
problem solving.
Y-
And I didn't know that.
yeah. If you ever watch that Penn and Teller show, you can kind of tell because they have this like whole language. They're like, "Oh, you did this, and then this other flippy thing," and then like they basically can like string 3 or 4 things together that
Yeah.
like I don't know what
Hmm.
that means.
Yeah.
Maybe a magician does, but they can like they're basically like it's a variation on the sideways Russian card flop, and you're like, they're like, "Oh yeah, you got it," and I'm like, "What are they
Yeah.
talking about?"
Yeah, I think even doing it like, okay, sorry. No, because then now I feel like if I start talking on stream, then I feel like I'll, start to pick apart. But yeah, I'll DM you. I'll DM you.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I do think they'll like, yeah, they'll have their like own languages.
Mhm.
And I think I bring up this stuff around magic, like code is magic, because I do think sometimes folks when they see these really awesome technologies, I don't think they see the people building them as human beings. And I think
Mm.
folks are just like, it's just like there's not that much that goes into this. You could just change this tomorrow. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, 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 no. There are lines and lines and
Yeah.
lines of code. And I think it creates this very, this is just magical. Y'all aren't taking this serious. And this other space where folks who aren't really seeing the back end, right,
Mhm.
of what goes into building and scaling out these systems, like
Mhm.
even this concept of like, sometimes the code that you're seeing, like it's had to go through review. It's been, you know what I mean? Like there's such a long, lengthy process even before that code has even seen you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Like, I mean, even if you think about it, like our whole company is basically what you kind of explained. Like, right, we're providing developers with an API to send out like a text message, for example, and like it's just a black box for them. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and we're essentially handling that whole infrastructure, that
Yeah.
relationship with carriers, everything we're doing behind the scenes, which
Yeah.
people don't even think about.
No.
Yeah.
I only know about it because I worked in data centers and I've like seen how you have to like carry. So like there's physically in data centers all over the world, there's like a bunch of fiber optic wires running between a bunch of Twilio servers and a bunch of like AT&T and T-Mobile and all these other servers. And it's just like thinking about that's wild to make this all work. But you're absolutely
Mhm.
right. Like, and it should be feel like magic, right? Like that's the
Mm.
joy of the internet is like at some point something becomes enough of a simple building block that it is magic. I mean, you get that with like AWS and Azure, like with spinning up servers and everything. It's cool stuff and it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting even on the Twilio context because I do wonder though, like people can start to minimize what's actually being done. Like for someone or something to create the magic, like there's a lot that's going behind it. But I do think if folks are just like, yeah, we just send text messages, like I just run a few lines of code and this it just happens. And you're like, there's a lot that, and I think I feel like we actually start to see a glimpse of this because I do think when we're dealing with a lot of stuff with like the regulatory side, people are like, whoa, what is this? Like, what? I can't send messages. And we're like, so there's this thing, like, we kind of like, and I think in us creating so much magic, I think we've kind of shielded folks in some ways, right? But I do think even on the Twilio side, like, whenever we do have to start bringing people into those conversations, like, yeah, this isn't magic. It's a lot of, it's a lot of maneuvering. But
yeah. And we even use magic a lot at work too. Like our cultural values, we call Twilio magic here. Whenever I'm like thinking about how to do demos and things, I'm talking about like, okay, get to the magic moment. There's something about that word that just like pulls up this kind of like ethereal thing that's a little beyond anything to describe. And like magic is the right word for it. Cause like, you need magic to make things just a little special and a little sparkly. It's the joy of, if I don't know who else has kids in the stream, but like having a little toddler running around, it's like all of a sudden out of nowhere, she'll just do this face. She'll be like, oh. And it's like her mind's being blown all the time because she's like learning something new every day. And it's just so magical.
My favorite though is like when you do the like I see you, I don't, and they're like, oh my God, 1 second I couldn't see you, and now you're in my face. And I was just like, yeah, that was great. But it's I mean, even as you say that, like I just think about like with little babies, they'll literally be like, where did you go? And you're like, I've been here all along.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like the ones like I don't have kids or anything like that, but like the first thing that came to mind was like dogs. I don't know if you've ever seen those YouTube shorts or whatever, where like somebody will have like a blanket, they throw it up in the air and they hide behind a door, and the thing falls and their dog's like, what?
I've done that to my daughter a few times, and yeah, she does the whole like. It's great.
I think within the concept of time, because even this aspect of like, wait, you've left in this small amount of time, I could still hear your voice, but like,
right,
you're still here. So I think I will say though, it's interesting, this aspect of still maintaining a level of delight. And I think in an era where there is so much information, there's so much like, join me behind the scenes of how I produce this thing, right? Like sometimes people need a little bit of like, don't tell me everything. And I think it's kind of understanding the dance and when like when and where.
What's that saying? Like, you don't always want to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah. I agree. I've
never made sausage on my own, so I can't say I know that one, but yeah.
There are certain things. I remember, honestly, I was a little traumatized. Like, I went to visit family and they cooked the chicken. I don't want to know how that fresh chicken was made. And that was a little traumatizing, y'all. They ran me through the process and I was like, oh, wow. So that was, because I was like, I went from hearing the sounds of the animal to no longer hearing the sounds of the animal that we were supposed to be eating. I was like, where are we getting the chicken? And I had befriended the chicken earlier in the day. Like, that was hard, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, as a child, I was like, wow. Like, we became buddies, and now I
Sad.
know the journey of the
Yeah. There's
chicken.
something, but I think that's actually a special moment of like, I think that when there's too much magic, like in the food system, for example, you kind of take it for granted and you don't
Ooh.
realize what's going on. But you having that experience, in my opinion, because I've had something similar, makes you understand the process that animals are going through a little bit more, makes you like a little bit more of a conscientious meat eater. The same way when
Mm-hmm.
you like learn how to code and you learn what it takes to make these things, you become a little bit more conscientious of like a consumer, or like, working in startups and seeing how hard it is, you become like a little more of a conscientious, like
Hmm.
understander of like what startups are. I think that there's like an analogy in startups where like, it seems like things like Yelp, for example, like just happened overnight, but really they took like years to actually build to the point of anybody knowing who they were.
Oh yeah.
And it's that same thing where it's like, once you build it and you see what's on the other side, you have so much more appreciation of what it took to get over the finish line to make like a real company.
Yep.
Alex, that is such a wonderful. So today I had seen like someone sharing some stuff about like, oh, Visco is so horrible and da 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 da. And I'm like, anyone who is in the Bay, imagine being Visco during the era of Instagram, during the time. But again, to the consumers, they're like, everything is behind a paywall. It's free and it's no longer free. And I'm like, y'all, I don't think you understood. Like, Visco was this small Oakland based startup that was competing with the likes of the Facebooks of the world, the Instagram, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, all the things. But like,
All the same now,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, like there were so many of these photo sharing apps, and it's like, I have that context because I was in the Bay during that time. I had friends that worked at those companies. And I think it was just kind of interesting to see that, like, I don't think people understood the magnitude of building a photo sharing startup during that time period. And I love that you bring up that context around, like, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, why didn't you just work? Or why didn't you just update your features? Or why do we have to pay for everything? And it's like, if they didn't do that, like, they probably wouldn't be out there in use. So yeah, that's a good, like, spaced.
Yeah. So like we've had this experience with startups. Anthony, you working at bigger companies, did you like being on the other side of, like, I think you said Allstate and Bank of America. Did that give you appreciation for like
State
that
Farm
side of things as well? State Farm
State
and
Farm.
Bank of America. Did that give you an appreciation for like some of the harder things at those big companies as well?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, like at the end, like I would say, most employees or most people in those big industries, like we all, always love to complain about how things are slow. And that was like the first thing that I mentioned too, whenever I said I worked there. Like that's like the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, we complain about how things are slow, how everything requires approvals and there's so many processes. But on one hand, that's how it is. But then on the other hand, it kind of has to be that way again because it's so regulated and you're dealing with so much, customer data and like it has to be secure, right? It has to be protected. So like, I mean, it makes sense, but again, like it's kind of out of your control. So I mean, there is somewhat of an appreciation, and I understand it. It's just like, there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, I feel like I got that a lot when we went through all the 10DLC stuff. Because on one hand, like it was painful and hard, and I feel for every customer. I know, I think somebody earlier in the chat mentioned that they went through the whole process and they were grateful for the communication, which is really great feedback. It was hard, and it changed the way that we do demos and how we could show people how Twilio works. And then on the other hand, I understood it, right? Like the carriers needed to, I mean, part of it's they just want more data, but another part of it is they want to stop bad actors, and there's like a benefit to it too. Yeah. And how do you talk about why this is actually beneficial to do these things? But it's when you're on the inside, you kind of see a little bit more of the magic, and you don't take as much for granted of like, oh, they just made a mistake. It's like, no, there's probably some intelligence that went into this that we're not seeing.
I think, but even within that, there can be this it's just one person making all these decisions. And it's like I mean, I'm just thinking about like, I don't know, just sending an email, right? Like there
Yeah.
has to be 15 million bajillion people to do something like that, right? So I think about like, there are so many of these things that I think sometimes folks can be like, "Oh, Alex, why can't I send these messages? You are responsible for all my issues with
Yeah.
startups." And it's like there's so many more people, and I think especially at larger companies, you could probably see that too, because it's like one project, one task probably has like 15 people on it,
Yeah.
that
Mm.
like whether it's like oversight or approvals, or
Mhm.
they have to see it. And it's like, yes, you want to move quickly, but like, even that aspect, I feel
Mm.
like, of being time based, like sometimes I feel like folks are like, oh, like this company was so slow responding to like a meme or a trend. And
Yeah.
it's like, they probably can't just have a random person posting. Like they have to run it through all their channels. Someone has to write off on it. They have to put
Mm.
their privacy policy in it. But I think even that aspect of like moving fast or moving slower. So it's like, I don't
Mhm.
know, it's kind of an interesting balance.
Yeah. I had one, this reminds me of, that was like a little frustrating recently. Somebody on like LinkedIn was really sad about us sunsetting one of our products. I think it was the Authy desktop that we
Mm.
like are not supporting anymore, something like that. And he got like angry at me on LinkedIn and was like, "Why can't you just sell it to this other company? I'll make the connection." I'm like, do you really think that we just like sunset this thing without making sure that it was the right move and the thing that we needed to do? And I'm like, I kind of just like told him that I'm like, I trust the people who made that decision, made it fully informed that options like this existed. But I'll pass this on. So I think I did try to like tell somebody, but like you just like assume that you know better than like the people making decisions, and that's
Yeah, I had gotten one of those IRL, and I was
Mhm.
just like, okay, I would love to run back this decision in this current moment while I'm not at
Right.
the office. I'll send someone a Slack message.
Right. But it's like
And
somebody like 7 steps higher than me made this decision. I don't even know what's going on.
yeah. And I think, especially when you're used to like startup lands where it is like, yeah, I was pretty close to the CEOs or whomever. Like, our CEO is awesome, but I'm not on a group chat with him, like being like, hey,
Wait,
You
you're
could
not?
Slack right now if you wanted to.
I mean, we could, but like, I think I'll just, I'm not going to be like, hey, have a street. I think he has other things that, it's a little,
Probably.
a little top of mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think even that aspect of time of like, see, now this is going to make me get like too deep in my brain. Just like our concepts of time, our concepts of what's real, our concepts of like, power or impact and influence and like change. So it's like we're all just figuring this out on this digital world.
I know. I want to run it back a little bit and talk a little bit more about something related to magic, which is Anthony, you're a Slytherin, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed my my goblet here.
You have a Slytherin goblet.
It's a
yes.
Slytherin goblet, which I got at Universal.
Nice.
Or actually, I didn't get this at Universal. I got this in a German town in Washington. But I mean, I went to Universal relatively recently, and yeah, I'm a Slytherin.
What was the whole experience like finding that out?
I mean, I've always known, No.
I mean, ever since you went to the zoo and could talk to snakes, you were just like, well, this makes sense.
Yeah. No, like a lot of, right, like there's like certain connotations people have about Slytherin, like, because the thing that kind of annoys me about like the whole Harry Potter universe is the fact that like it's just like good and bad, like
yeah,
right, it's not the case at all. Like just because you're a Slytherin does not mean you're bad. Like I mean, in the movies and whatnot, that's how they're portrayed, but that's not how
right. but there was almost like a whole backstory we missed that she tries to bring in about like how it wasn't bad and like it was just like different types of people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
then I mean, it's really easy in these books to get into the like good guy, bad guy tropes.
Yeah.
Like good and evil, and
Yeah. But like, I'm just Googling like what are some Slytherin traits, because
I often wonder.
yeah, like
with the searching.
So they're like, so the good traits of a Slytherin is that they are ambitious and they have goals, which I think is pretty true of myself. Like, they're persistent and resilient. They are analytical and skeptical. And yeah, I mean, I think that those are like all pretty accurate. And then like I've taken like a few different Harry Potter house quizzes, and like every time I'm Slytherin, so I think it's pretty accurate. Yeah.
I like that you're accepting it. I feel like some people
yeah.
might fight that one, but you know what? It's just who
No.
you are, and it's not a
leaning into
I mean,
it.
still great.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, I know some people who are like Hufflepuffs, and they like hate admitting it, but like, hey, that's who you are. You're a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, there we go. The houses are just a simplified astrological outlook, and that's such a Virgo thing of you to think.
Now I am curious though, but then now I am curious. Like, what is your astrological?
Is that the? I don't even know what that is. Is that like the sign?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a Leo, I think. Yeah, but so I'm a Leo because I'm born in August, but I don't think I'm a Leo. I'm like, it's weird because I feel like I'm like, my name is Anthony. I don't look like an Anthony. I'm a Leo. I'm not really a Leo. Like,
who are you?
am I?
Who are you? That is going to be the name of the stream. Is it Anthony? Who lives on this?
It's all a magic trick, right? It's a mirage.
You know? That is too funny. No, I was like, Roberta will send over some of that salt, because clearly we're like, did we just have a stream with Anthony, or who was it? Or is it Alex part 2? Did we have a,
I shaved, and this is just this is a very cleverly orchestrated talk from the past when I had long hair and hadn't grown my beard out yet. And
this is Chat GPT 0 or 40.
This is
GPT
4.0.
Yeah.
Anthony version.
Yeah.
Too good. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
y'all.
It took me a while to see, like, I'm a Gemini, and it took me a while to figure that one out, to be like, oh no, that's actually very accurate for me. I like oscillate pretty hard between things and usually hold two truths about myself that are very different at the same time.
This is so funny because like every now and then with the like astrology, I don't know why I say it like that, astrology, like I'll feel like, oh, this is on brand, and then I'll be like, this is very off. But every now and then, like sometimes.
I think all those things are useful. Like I've done some work with like the Enneagram, and it's a similar one. Like I read the intro about what type I am, 7, if anyone's curious. And it's like, I'm like, that's not me. And then like, as I dive deeper into like the subtypes and everything, I'm like, okay, that actually is me. And I think all of these things, you don't want to base your life around it, but if you use it as a tool to like reflect on you and who you are as like a little bit of a window to view and like reflect through, I think they're really interesting and useful.
Yeah, I think with those things, like they can easily become the like, this is all you are.
Yeah.
My favorite is when people are like, yeah, I'm like this because I'm a Cancer. Like that's when you're like, I thought you had a name first. But but okay. So I do think, like you said, it's just like it's insights, into it's just, it's additional information. So that's always fascinating. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's funny because like I literally don't think I'm a Leo at all. I don't think
you definitely don't get Leo vibes.
Right? Yeah. Like I would say when I was younger, I think it was true. Like really young, I was definitely a Leo. But like as I've gotten older, like I'm not a Leo at all. But
wow.
Yeah. But I do think that what is it called? Like your I don't know what it's called. Like there's like 4 letters.
Oh, the
E I.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, I think that one is more accurate, like for sure. Because for that one, I'm INTJ. I don't know. What are y'all's?
I think I'm the same as you.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine changed because there was one period of my life
Can't
that it
remember, it's
was
been a
like
while.
there was one part that it was like there was one point where I was like an ENTJ, like, but it was just like very the commander. But it was also like the ENTJ is very like logic,
Mm.
not feelings, a
Mm.
lot of those things. I do think I did. Then over time, it was just like then at points I would be like an ENTP. So yeah, it just kind
It
of
changes
like
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah, that one was more of like there was a part where it's like a debater. What's so wild to me is just like I am not that extroverted. I'm convinced that it's like my voice is just high pitched, and people think I am so much more like, oh my gosh, hey guys, and I was like, I am very like, I think
Really?
there's and I think it's getting better, but there is a misconception about introversion and extroversion versus like how outgoing or shy you are. I am an outgoing introvert. If someone meets me for the first time, they think I'm an extrovert, but that's just like I really value my time alone, and I really value my time sitting in the couch, reading quietly next to my wife. Like we do that most nights. It's beautiful. I love it. We both love it. We're both like that. But like I'll go to a party and like if I know the people, I'm like out there talking, chatting it up, and I love it. So I think like Bianca, maybe we're both just outgoing introverts.
Yeah, that could be it.
I think that could be a thing. And I also will say like it is tough for people like if I sat silent, I think especially since like I have like when I am on like, I have a presence. But I do think like if I were to be super quiet and to myself, like it would seem weird to people. So I think I'm just kind of like.
And Chef Brent said there's a lot of extroverted introverts tendencies in Devrel, and I think you kind of need that in Devrel because you both need to be able to get out there and talk to people, and you need to be like comfortable with that, and you also need to be comfortable sitting down and like writing code and figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because like myself, like I'm definitely introverted, but like it's kind of like I can like turn it on and off depending on the situation and just like my vibe for the day. But generally speaking, I'm like extremely introverted, I would say, because I love staying at home. I love just chilling and doing my own thing. But yeah, like I mean, there are times when I can like be talking to
everyone.
To a
party and ghost faced and tell people to call your phone number and freak them out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people get confused because it's like the jobs that we choose are very like it's so interesting because it's like there's a deep people aspect to the work. So then I think people assume like, yeah, Anthony, every weekend you're out partying and wanting people to text you. And it's like, I don't know. I can see why people get thrown off by our our balances. This was some good vibes today.
This is super fun.
We laughed a ton. I mean, I laughed a lot. I can't speak for your laughter.
I'm gonna call you out, Anthony, a little bit and share a little behind. Anthony was a little bit nervous about coming on stream, and we had a little meeting, and I hope it was as fun as you thought it would be.
It's way better than I thought it would be. Like
nice.
It's like I think you guys are awesome. You made it feel like literally just like we're just hanging out, chilling.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. We're just hanging out and chilling.
Literally. I love it. I think that you two did a fantastic job. Like I think honestly it's all about the hosts, really, because if it was like somebody else who like doesn't really know how to switch the conversation up or do things like that, like it wouldn't feel good. But like I think you guys are the right people to do this.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. But like just learning, we're learning as we go too. We're figuring this out, and we're feeling a lot more comfortable than we did. I mean, this is the 13th streams. So then we did on
Yeah.
the first few. We feel more comfortable, and we're learning how to do a better job bringing on guests and making sure you feel comfortable and doing like
Yeah.
the work to do that too. Cause I think it just shows off. But like anybody, we're generally bringing people on who like we know are going to be fun. The demo you
Yeah.
gave is like maybe my favorite Twilio demo ever. Yes. Lucky number 13. We had magic tricks. Throw your salt and your stage everywhere. Like,
no content. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think what's also cool about our guests, which is like, there's like, yes, there's the job that you do, but then there's also like, there's so much more to you. You know, like from the magic trick, like, you know, just magic tricks to design to like being a Slytherin, like just there are all these cool pieces that make up the person. And I do think we love that stream can be a place that we can kind of showcase to the world. Like Anthony is not just Anthony who works on messaging. Like, you know, there's more to you than that. And I do think that for us was like, when we think about our guests, it's like, there's so much more to the dope folks on DevNet than just like, you know, the things that they do. No, yeah.
For sure.
So
yeah.
So
yeah, thank you. We'll be back if we get some special requests from Robertables. I can get some sage for the next stream. Super cool random thing, but like sage grows in the mountains here, and so we actually just like usually go out with a garbage bag and pick a bunch at the end of the season near where my mom lives in the mountains, and end up with a lot of cool sage. So I've got sage.
I thought it was just like a stream giveaway, no context giveaway.
Sage.
just send.
We're gonna get some A/B testing branded sage.
Oh, of course. No one will know why. No, this was super awesome. Thank you so much, Anthony, for hanging out with us today. And thank you everyone in chat for just the how to deal with the stream curses and our sage salt starter pack. But thank you everyone who kind of joined us. We appreciate it.
And
Alex,
next week, well, I just wanted to say next week we have another guest joining us. We are going to be joined by Marius, who's a developer evangelist in Munich, Germany, and he's going to be walking through another really cool demo he made, the Twilio wheel, which is you know what, you just did a card trick. It's kind of continuing on the Vegas theme. It's got a little roulette wheel. So he's going to show us.
Let's go to Vegas.
Let's go to Vegas. We got it.
Live.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to have Marius on and another amazing conversation. And thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us. This was such a fun
Thanks
stream.
a lot for having me. It was so fun, and I'd love to be back on in the future. Yeah.
We'll have you for sure. Well, I've already got it. You're going to come on. And maybe we'll figure out how to get Dolly working more reliably.
Okay.
We can do a little build. Yeah, we'll get Dolly working in less than 10 seconds or with a callback of some sort.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so when can people see us again, Alex, if they want to?
Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We live here. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Y'all are great. Thanks.